I'm not a lawyer, but we have our first set of jury questions in the YSL trial. Okay, so it's not uncommon when a jury is deliberating for them to say that they have questions about the evidence or something that was presented in the trial. And it's also not uncommon for those of us watching to speculate about what those jury questions actually mean and what they are in there talking about. So this is no different. So after I go through the questions, make sure you drop all of the speculations that you have about what these questions actually mean and what they could be talking about in that room. Also, the journalists and the cameraman and the public were let into the courtroom a bit after the judge had started talking about these questions, so not everything was recorded, but shout out to Joseph Papp on Twitter. He's a journalist and he was recapping on Twitter some of what was said in the courtroom, starting with the jurors asking for more clarification on the wording of intent and intent to distribute. Now, this has to do with count 58, which is possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, and this is in regards to the raid on Jeffrey Williams' house in May of 2022. Now, if you're trying to keep up, the codeine, cocaine, and machine weapon charges were dropped against Yak, but the marijuana and Glock charges still remain because those items were in a common area. So anyone in the house can essentially be charged with them.
So this is the main level after you walk in with the living room and then a open kitchen to the left.
Now, do you see that white island in the middle to the left near the kitchen?
Yes. It's a container of a substance we believe to be marijuana.
And is that the same kitchen aisle we were just discussing?
Yes, that was also located on the counter. Inside was a Ziploc baggie containing suspected marijuana, as well as a wad of U.S. currency.
Is this a closer photograph of the suspected marijuana?
It is.
So the jury is asking, what does intent and intent to distribute mean in regards to that marijuana? And here is how Whitaker answered them.
All right, on count 58, possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, the state must prove that Mr. Kendrick knowingly and intentionally participated in or helped in possessing marijuana, intending to unlawfully deliver or sell it. Does that cover what y'all are asking with regard to that one? Yes, okay, all right.
The next question had to do with count 57, 58, and 61. Count 58 is the possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, we just talked about. Count 57 is for participation in criminal street gang activity, and the gang activity in this charge is possessing marijuana with intent to distribute. So it goes back to that possession charge. And then count 61 is for possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and the felony in this instance is possessing marijuana with the intent to distribute. So the way this charge really shakes out is Yak is being charged for having possession of a weapon that was found at Thug's house while also possessing marijuana with the intent to distribute. So again, none of these items are actually on him, but they are at Thug's house during that raid in an open area. So that's how he's still facing these charges. Hopefully that makes sense. But all of that said, the actual question that the jury is asking is, do we have to find Yak guilty of possessing the marijuana in order to find him guilty of the other charges? The short answer is yes, but here is Judge Whitaker explaining that to the jurors.
Moving on to whether you need to group counts 57, 58, and 61 individually or separately, you will need to consider them individually and reach a verdict as to each of them separately, but possession of marijuana with intent to distribute would need to be proven for count 58, count 61, and count 57. Does that cover what y'all wanted to? Okay.
The next thing they ask about is Thug's missing watch, which again has to do with the raid that happened on Thug's house. And this watch was at the house before the raid and then not at the house after the raid. But the watch is also not in evidence with APD. And this is a point that Doug Weinstein highlighted multiple times, and the jurors had a question about it.
Mr. Weinstein. Also, please have Attorney Weinstein clarify if he said my client's watch or where is the watch regarding the Richard Milley watch, which is in no way, I mean, it's a total red herring. And good for you for distracting them, but that is not an element of anything they're supposed to be considering.
I don't believe that that was a red herring, and it went to the credibility of law enforcement
That's
and their
true,
witnesses.
but-
So I would disagree with that characterization
Anyway,
of the court.
what did you say?
I said, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't say his watch. I probably said the watch. If I said his watch, that would have been I would have misspoken.
Okay. So I will just say, Mr. Weinstein did not say my client's watch. If he did, he misspoke.
Your Honor, would the court be inclined to respond that what the attorneys say is not evidence?
Yes, that's an
And that
excellent
should not be
idea.
even a consideration,
Uh-huh.
rather than telling
Yes.
them what he said? Thank you.
I mean, I'm going to do both.
All right, next, the jurors asked to see videos related to the unaliving of Donovan Thomas.
Please provide the videos of the following: the gas station when Yak was getting into the car, camera in front of the station. Y'all understand what that means? We do, Your Honor. Okay, and then number 2, the drive-by shooting in front of the barber shop on McDaniel Street on Donovan Thomas. Okay. They clarified that one for us too.
So the state plays video of the multiple times that Yak got into the car while at the gas station, and then they also played video of the drive-by.
All right, does that satisfy what y'all wanted to see on
No,
that?
that's not the last
Oh,
time he got
okay.
in the car.
All right, sorry.
We're fast forwarding.
Sorry, thought y'all said 3 times.
So we're now fast
My
forwarding.
bad. That's good. Okay, that's what they wanted to see. All right.
Are you ready for some of my speculation? It seems to me like the jurors are starting with Yak's charges first. And my mind went to the fact that in closing arguments, Hilton said that Yak got into the Pontiac at the gas station and then changed cars off camera. But there was really no evidence to support that theory, but that's what she said. So I think maybe they are verifying which car Yak got into when he left the gas station and comparing it to the car that did the drive-by. But also, shout out to this theory from San Fettuccini on Twitter, who says, remember that the state tried to say that the white car drove past the barbershop before the Infiniti did the drive-by. So maybe the jurors are trying to see if the car that drove by before the Infiniti was the Pontiac that Yak got into at the gas station. I don't know. It's all theories, all speculations. The reality is we have no idea what they're talking about in that room, but y'all can still tell me your theories in the comments.